everyone, welcome to Homeschool Autism Life. My name is Jamie. Welcome to my summer of Darrion's program that I am sharing on this channel because I really want to empower those parents out there to be able to do therapies with their kids and feel confident in the stuff that they know about their kids that could be extremely helpful for them to just thrive in this autism world, and you as a parent to get to know your child better than you ever did before. So if you haven't seen my previous two videos, I suggest you do that. It explains why I'm doing this. It explains some of the initial things that are so important for you to understand, giving yourself grace, giving your child grace. The next ones are going to be a lot more specific to the therapy program in and of itself, but the first step is going back to giving them a safe place. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Today we're going to be talking about the very beginning building blocks of this program that help us as parents really understand the cues that our kids are giving us, where they say, yes, I can learn, or no, I can't learn anything else. So the beginning block is A. So the ABCs, I'm just going to say it. The ABCs is assess if my child, my Darrion, is giving you a red light or a green light. And what that means is that our children can give us cues. Usually they're pretty obvious. They're not usually very subtle. Whether they're in a place where they want to learn something new or if they're maybe overstimulated. And these are things that are so integral and important because if you watched the previous video, I talked about sitting on a bench reading a book, and one person listens to the cues and says, I really just want to read my book, and the other person is saying, no, don't do what you want, do what I want. And we really want to be the person who goes, oh, you want to read your book? No problem, that's fine. We want to show our kids that we respect what they're doing. So sometimes it can be subtle. Like if I ask my Darrion, I go, Darrion, do you want to do this and that? And he doesn't respond. I need to, number one, give him time to respond. And if he's still not responding, then I can try it one more time. And then if he's not, and he's maybe busy doing something like talking to himself or playing with a toy or something, then I go to playing with my toy because he's given me a red light. But if I say, Darrion, do you want to do something? And he brings me the thing that I asked or the choice that I asked, or maybe he brings me something else entirely in the playroom, then he's still communicating to me, and I can still celebrate and say, oh, thank you for telling me what you want to do. That's so epic. Thank you. Or I can go, oh, I love this game. This is so much fun. But you see the differences, right? I am in one instance, I'm literally looking at him going, I'm taking my cue from my child. Does he want to do something with me right now? If the answer is no, then no problem. If he does want to do something with me, then let's do it. Let's play. So red light and green light is really, really important when you're talking. So assessing your child's ability. So again, when they do stimming or isms, when they're doing those things, often it's because maybe they're in a dysregulated state and they're struggling, and they're just like, I need to be in my safe zone. And there's a lot of individuals who talk about autism as being our kids live in their own world, and a lot of that stimming is them taking care of themselves. And again, the world has kind of what's the word, made it a bad thing that they do this. This is a bad thing, and we want them to stop doing what they want to do and do what we want them to do, with no regard of what they're feeling, what they're dealing with, whether they he's jumping up and down and like giggling. I don't know if you can hear him, but he's having a great time. But those things are things that are so integral and so important for us to really respect and show him that. Um, if they are in a red light, it's our job to bond with them. So again, like the lady reading the book, if I can choose to be disrespectful, say stop doing what you want to do what I want you to do, or I can bond with him by joining him. So the lady with the book, the joiner is the person who goes, can I sit down and read a book with you? Do you mind that? Or I can go over here on another park bench and read if you would prefer, but I am joining you. I am wanting to do what you're doing. So the other part of this, and this is something we'll talk about a little bit later, is when we're joining, what does that look like with our autistic kids? Because our autistic kids generally, there are some that do, but on occasion, Darrion will read or look at pictures in a Titanic book. And so I could get my own book and look beside him. But oftentimes it's, when he was younger, he would like bounce, and run into walls and bang into the wall. And it was my job to find a reason for why I also wanted to do that. And it sounds funny and it sounds weird, but I will explain why we do that. If Darrion responds when I say, hey, Darrion, what do you want to do? And he says, I want to play this game, and he brings me a silly game, that's when I can challenge him with a new skill, like what we were talking about before, saying hi to everything. If that's my goal, is to say hi, or have Darrion learn how to say hi, and I'm saying, hello plant, how are you? And I'm being silly and goofy like that. Maybe he brought me the game and I'm like, oh, hi game, how are you? Look at you, you're beautiful. You've got yellow and red and green. Hello, yellow, red, and green. Now, me saying that sounds so ridiculous and so silly, but remember the first few videos. We want to have energy, excitement, and enthusiasm, and being silly and goofy is what brings our kids in and them wanting to spend time with us, because we're not uppity business individuals or politicians. We are silly kids enjoying life, and we want them to also enjoy life with us, right? So that, talking to games or talking to plants for the purpose of having a child say hi sounds really weird and goofy and silly, and why would you do that? But like I said, 2 months down the road, maybe he goes, oh, hi, and then you can show them that, hi, how are you? My fingers are blue because I'm dyeing a dress, so I'm not dyeing. Darrion's red and green lights will show you what to do in the playroom. And that's the important bit. So when we're joining, remember that joining with Darrion is your way of establishing a relationship and trust. What you love, I want to love too. What you like to do, I want to learn, because that's the best way I can get to know you, and that's important to me. And the difference is that you are not copying them. You're not, if your child goes vroom with a car and you go vroom with a car, you are mimicking him, and it's not about relationships. It could be perceived as you making fun of your child. It could be perceived as, I don't know, like, what are you doing? Like if somebody, the best way I can put it is if you had a sibling and they repeated every word you said, and like it was irritating. It wasn't fun. It wasn't silly. It wasn't goofy. Sorry, my husband's calling me. It wasn't something that was impressive. It was just irritating, right? And so the point of this was to make sure that you are joining in a way that makes sense to you. And sometimes it can be a little bit of a challenge to go, why am I jumping up and down and banging myself into the wall? But it's okay. So joining is your way of telling him that he is accepted the way he is, and that you want to play with him or her on their terms. Join fully and find your own joy and reasons for jumping up and down with him, or banging into walls, or making strange noises. My reasons tend to extend from the fact that these hours I am playing with Darrion in his playroom, there are no chores, there's no to-do lists. I can just be silly with him, and I can find so much joy in, oh no, I don't have to do the dishes right now. I am also blessed to play with my little boy and be overjoyed when he grows or does something new. So jumping up and down is, maybe I'm like, yay, no dishes right now. Or yay, I will get to that eventually, but right now I don't have to. And so the bouncing into walls, sometimes the reason for doing it was because it made Darrion laugh when he did it. Right now it's, like I'm blowing bubbles outside and out into the wind, and we're seeing how far the bubbles can go. And like, in normal life, would I ever be blowing bubbles outside and watching the wind take them and seeing how far they go? No, but uh, why wouldn't I do that? Why wouldn't I enjoy that? And so you finding joy and enjoyment in doing the things that they want makes them feel heard and understood and respected. And if it's something that they want to continue to do, and you're like, I'm getting tired of this, it's boring or whatever, you finding another reason. And like I said, a lot of times it's like, oh no, I'm forcing myself to spend time with my child instead of doing the to-do list that's hours long. For me, is something that I go, I am going to take great joy in it. And children can tell. There's a lot of discussions about our children. They don't know, like, they don't recognize. They are very empathetic, and they very much know if you are doing it for their sake, or if you're just messing around because you have a sense of obligation or whatever. It's really important, again, at that very, very first thing, it was have imagination, be silly, be goofy and entertaining. We want them to love this. We want them to desire to hang out with us. So that is all I'm going to share with you today. I hope that you have that this was something that you found valuable. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.